Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show. Excuse my voice crack there. It is Friday, June 11th, 2021, and it is currently, let me check here, cloudy and 73 degrees here at Wright State University. With me this morning, I have Harmony, as you could hear from her giggle on the phone line. How are you doing this morning?
And my crunching.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
What's Harmony's breakfast of the day, out of curiosity?
Breakfast of champions is just some dry Chex Mix right out of the box.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. And we also got Laughing Chipmunk joining us through Discord. How are you doing this morning, Laughing Chipmunk?
I'm tired. I didn't
She's
get
not
any
laughing.
sleep today. No, I'm not laughing. Not yet.
Yeah, you.
Oh, God, I had kittens bouncing off the wall all night last night.
Aww.
Shadow got spayed yesterday morning.
Oh.
And, yeah, this poor kitty, she's hurting. But she's got pain meds.
She's all knocked up on pain meds, I guess.
Great.
Yeah.
Cat. Opioid cat.
Right.
But yeah, I've spent all night with the kittens just bouncing on and off the bed and bouncing around and they're out on the patio now. And Shadow's in the guest room with me.
Alrighty. Shall we get into today's current events?
Yeah.
All right. Just a reminder, we still got that drinking water warning in effect for Wright State University. So if you're on campus, do not use the water for any purpose here. And if you need bottled water, you could contact 065 Allen Hall.
Don't drink the water.
Yes. With that being said, we're going to get right into our current events for the day. From Dayton Daily News, Bellbrook City Manager is leaving for a Fairborn Finance Director job. You can read more about that at Dayton Daily News. Also, Dayton Daily News mentions that Greene County employees settle a lawsuit over back pay. Interesting. I can't cover that, unfortunately, because,
Paywall is up.
Paywall, yeah. But what I can cover is this from WHIO. Surveillance video, Kettering bowling ball attack suspect indicted by grand jury.
Nice.
This is an interesting, that's an interesting title. Let's see what this is about. A 41-year-old Dayton man is facing felony charges after he was accused of attacking an autistic employee at a Kettering bowling alley with a bowling ball. I'm sorry, dude, but that's not a pin. Police responded to Capri Lanes on South Dixie Drive on March 14th. Yeah, Capri Lanes, when the attack was reported. Once there, they learned that the defendant had been in a brief argument with an employee at the lanes who is autistic, prosecutors said. As the employee was behind the counter, prosecutors say that Dante J. Nevins, 41, threw a 16-pound bowling ball at the employee's face.
Oh!
Oof. The ball hit the employee below the eye, causing 2 fractures, investigators said.
Oh, Jesus.
Prosecutors said they have surveillance video that shows the attack Nevins is accused of. Nevins is charged with 2 counts of felonious assault, and a warrant has been issued for his arrest. Ouch.
Wow. Well, Dante, that was a bad move on your behalf.
Very bad move. All right. Dayton Daily News also says that Ohio budget add-on could impact a Kettering abortion clinic. I really wish I could cover that, but I can't because that's a paywall. From the Fairborn Daily Herald, Fairborn Spark reopens. Actually, we've talked about this several times on the show, but there is a kitchen called Spark that is reopening after being shut down from the COVID pandemic. And Spark offers a lot of cool stuff like cooking classes and entrepreneurship classes. So if you're looking to start a restaurant, be sure to check out Spark.
Can you spell that triple P?
It's just like a spark. S-P-A-R-K.
P-A-R-K.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Are you going to check them out?
Yes.
Awesome. Let us know how it goes, by the way, when you do check them out.
Sure.
From the...
Let us know.
Boo. Kitchen jokes.
Let us know.
Let us know.
I'll catch up with you later.
I'll catch up with you later on that. You guys are going to really get yourself into a pickle with all of these jokes. From the Springfield News Sun, Cottrell, newest Enon Citizen of the Year honoree, earns long overdue recognition for community efforts. Since the beginning of the Enon Citizen of the Year Awards, Elmer Beard has often been a part of the ceremonies or selection process. In fact, he presented the award to others when he was mayor. This year, however, will be different. This year, Elmer Beard is himself the Enon Citizen of the Year. This is an honor that most folks agree is overdue. The description of the award pretty much describes Elmer Beard's life, recognizing the area resident who best characterizes Enon's hometown spirit through his or her service makes our community a better place to live. One of the rules in the selection process states that nominees or their families cannot be village employees or hold positions within the village, and therein lies the reason he has not received the award before. It turns out that for most of his adult life, Beard has been working, volunteering, or elected to a position of importance for the village. But now that Beard has retired from Enon, it is his turn to bask in the community's appreciation for all that he has done over the years. Born into the Beard family that owned the elevator next to the railroad tracks, Elmer has been a part of Enon since he took his first breath. He attended the Naw Prairie Church. He grew up as a member of Boy Scout Troop 17 and achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. That's a high honor in the Boy Scout.
Yeah, that is. Congratulations, Elmer.
As a young boy, he listened as his mother answered calls for the EMS and fire. In fact, he often ran to the firehouse to pass on the news when there was a call for assistance. I want to pause here for a second because I just remembered, I think in terms of Boy Scouts, I think only 2% of people make it to Eagle Scout status, if I'm correct on that.
Yeah, it's very, very rare these days because that's when you get all the way up to your senior year in high school and it's more hands-on, camping and community service, more based in that direction. But yeah, that's very rare that most gentlemen of that age get up to that.
Elmer was a 1973 graduate of Greenon High School and active in FFA. At Ohio State University, he earned his Bachelor's of Science and his Master's of Science in Agriculture Education. Since he returned to this area and have been a strong supporter of Greenon FFA and served many years on the Greenon FFA Alumni Board and as president and treasurer. You can read more about all of Elmer's contributions from the Springfield News Sun by going to springfieldnewssun.com. So, congratulations. Dayton Daily News has also got an article about a slain Dayton officer who was remembered with street dedication. I believe Del Rio
Way.
Yeah, that's
Del Rio Way.
Okay. So I think that was a good move on Dayton's side to honor him. From the Hamilton Journal News, show me the money. Dayton Live calls for release of pandemic emergency funds. Dayton Live and other local entertainment venues are joining other national arts groups calling for the immediate and full release of emergency funds from the Small Business Administration. The $16.1 billion Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program, signed into law in December 2020, provides eligible movie theaters, live venue operators and promoters, talent representatives, and performing arts organizations with grants equal to 45% of their 2019 gross earned revenue up to a maximum of $10 million. Currently, SBA errors and delays have put businesses and organizations at risk, including Dayton Live, the organization said. The SBA missed its June 9th deadline to grant funds to those businesses suffering 90% or more losses and to begin making grants to the second tier of businesses suffering 70% or more losses. A request for comment from the SBA was not returned. More than 4,910 small business owners in the first priority period, those with the greatest need, and an additional 10,000 independent businesses that fall in the second and third priority periods are still waiting for emergency relief funding, according to the release. As for June 9th, the SBA reported it had awarded a total of 90 grants. You can read more at journal-news.com. That's unfortunate that these businesses are not getting those needed grants.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Dayton.
Get on the move. Show
Yes.
them the money.
See what's growing at an Urban Gardeners Dayton's River City Living Cottage. This is from Northern Kentucky Tribune. I don't think we've had Northern Kentucky Tribune before. To the owner of the cottage in this week's episode, its Dayton neighborhood feels a lot like Brooklyn, walkable and friendly with an urban flair. It also offered her a blank slate when it came to the house and yard. By combining a unified color palette with handmade furniture and quirky collections, she has created a welcoming, personalized home in a thriving garden setting, as well as growing a new side business for herself. Susan Beresford, a textile designer by trade, inspired by the organic forms and colors of flowers and plants. When she turned her designer's eye to her yard, she took advantage of the fertile Kentucky soil and wound up with a bountiful harvest of tomatoes, peppers, and onions. She used some of this produce to experiment with different Bloody Mary mix recipes. With her friends gathered for brunch in her backyard, they loved her concoctions as much as the lush setting. She called her new business Farm to Hangover. Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Needing more room to grow, Susan is now leasing a vacant lot from the city of Dayton, which she has turned into an urban farm. She looks forward to a large harvest and many more jars of flavorful Bloody Mary mixes. With her pretty house, flourishing gardens, and cute neighborhood, this New York transplant has been able to grow and blossom in northern Kentucky. A new episode of Beyond the Curb River City Living is released every Friday. Previous episodes can be watched at beyondthecurb.org. Interesting. All right, continuing on. The Dayton Business Journal reports that Dayton tech leader Alan Steffen talks working through stressful times. Dayton Business Journal is another one of those paywall sources, so if you want to check that out, you can go to Dayton Business Journal. City of Dayton is offering code enforcement amnesty this summer. 50 blighted properties face higher taxes. The Dayton City Council, according to Northern Kentucky Tribune, has approved a code enforcement amnesty program to encourage property owners with outstanding code enforcement violations to clean up their properties this summer or face redoubled code enforcement efforts this fall. Under the new program, Dayton property owners with code enforcement citations issued prior to May 4th will have until July 31st to bring those properties into compliance with the city ordinances. Property owners actively involved in making repairs to these properties this summer may request a 3-month extension until October 31st to finish the repairs. If these properties are repaired within this time frame, the city will waive past code enforcement fines accrued on the property. However, the city will not waive charges for grass cutting, boarding up properties, or other out-of-pocket expenses it has incurred to maintain or secure those properties. At a recent strategic planning session, City Council made it very clear that addressing vacant and blighted properties is one of its top priorities, said Dayton City Administrator Jay Fawcett. The amnesty program is designed to encourage people who owned problem properties in the city to make needed repairs this summer or face increased scrutiny by the city in the future, including the placement of code enforcement liens on the properties that are in violation of building, fire, and property maintenance codes. You can read more at nkytribune.com. From WHIO, OVI Checkpoint is set to be held in Dayton tonight. An OVI checkpoint will be operated in Dayton tonight, according to Dayton Police. The location and time of the checkpoint will be announced ahead of the checkpoint, which is in accordance with state law. The checkpoint and other increased patrols will be conducted by the Combined Agency OVI Task Force of Montgomery County. WHIO will update the story as new details are available. I don't know about you, and my views do not reflect the views and opinions of WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities. But I'm skeptical about pre-announcing the locations and times of OVI checkpoints. What about you, Harmony and Laffy Chipmunk?
Well, I think that they're banking on the fact that not everybody's going to be newsworthy and hear it. And some people will just be, cruising on through or staggering on through, as the case may be. Mm-hmm. But I tend to wonder about that. I mean, why are we doing an OVI? We're not even around any major holidays yet except for Father's Day, unless we got a lot of drunken fathers out there that can't handle the life and the family. But
I was going to say, like, Father's Day isn't this weekend. I think it's next weekend.
Next weekend, exactly.
20th, yeah.
So my feel is, and it's my opinion, of course, I feel like it's a waste of time, to be honest. I mean, people are going to get busted, in any direction. And these officers could be doing something better with their time. Mm-hmm. But, they've been doing this for quite some years now, and I just don't see the relevance unless it's around the holiday time, which would be Christmas, 4th of July, New Year's, etc., so.
Makes sense. Like Chipmunk, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be going anywhere until, late, the latter part of this month anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're not going to be drinking either.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No. And I definitely do not drink and drive. I don't even text and drive.
Yeah.
You can't even skateboard and drink.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
We know that because she fell on her face.
I was going to say you can't scooter at all. Teasing her for something that happened several years ago.
She was an SWI, scootering while intoxicated.
Oh my gosh. Was she really drinking when that happened?
Yeah, she had a wine cooler and she hit a bump in my driveway and she went face first right into the driveway.
I didn't know she was drinking.
Yeah, she busted her little nose open.
Oof. Yeah.
I busted my lip.
I do remember that.
I busted my lip.
Yeah, and your little nose got a little bit scuffied up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny. I can laugh about that. Like, what the old woman out there on the scooter? What the heck was I thinking?
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. You were drinking. That's why you weren't thinking. But anyway, yeah.
True. Maybe this is why there's an OVI checkpoint.
Exactly. No one scooter through that OVI checkpoint while you're intoxicated. Stay home.
Continuing on, for Dayton Daily News, Dayton Basil's on Market restaurant has set to reopen. You could read about that at Dayton Daily News. Dayton Business Journal talks about Dayton manufacturing leader Doug Borchers. You can read about that. Dayton Daily News talks about local hospitals and having blood shortages, which are worsening, and donations are urgently needed. So get out there and donate some blood if you can. From WHIO, a woman was hospitalized after being hit by a car in Dayton last night. At least one woman has been taken to the hospital after being hit by a vehicle in Dayton last night. Police and medics were called to the intersection of Edward C. Moses Boulevard and West Riverview Avenue on the report of a crash involving a pedestrian around 11:41 p.m. Thursday, according to dispatch records. A woman was taken to Miami Valley Hospital for her injuries, but her condition was not released, dispatchers said. A second medical unit was called to the scene, but the dispatcher's records say no one else was taken to the hospital. WHIO will update the story as they learn more. I don't know about you, but I'm getting sick of these earwax advertisements that I'm seeing on these news articles. I mean, definitely not the fault of WHIO, etc., but I don't want to see earwax, literal earwax on an advertisement. That's kind of gross.
Nah. Like those new Q-tips called screw tips. Little corkscrews you put in your ear and pull it on out.
Ooh, jeez. Dayton Business Journal talks about White Castle securing financing for $27 million in Vandalia expansion and plans 30 new jobs. You can read about that at the Dayton Business Journal website. We're going to now go to global and national news brought to you by Cheddar News Need to Know. From the Associated Press, President Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson had their first meeting since Biden took office. They emphasized their wish to work together, topping it off by authorizing an updated version of the Atlantic Charter, originally signed by Prime Minister Winston Churchill and FDR in 1941. But issues like Brexit, which Biden opposed and Johnson championed, as well as the future of Northern Ireland, shadowed the meeting. Biden also formally announced U.S. plans to purchase and distribute 500 million doses of Pfizer vaccines around the world over the next year. He called it a responsibility, our humanitarian obligation to save as many lives as we can. The vaccines will begin to be sent out in August. From ABC News, U.S. Park Police did not clear Lafayette Park of protesters on June 1st, so President Trump could cross the street to St. John's Church, according to a U.S. Department of the Interior report.
Why did the Trump cross the road? Because there was a McDonald's with Diet Coke on the other side.
Why did the Trump cross the road? To get to the other small loan of $1 million.
There you go.
The agency's inspector general did not comment on police and protester interactions that day, but said that several agencies communicated poorly.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
That's my text message alert.
Oh my gosh.
Closing it off.
And carried out ineffective dispersal warnings, including the use of pepper spray and tear gas. Now the latest with COVID-19 from CNBC. India's health ministry said it counted a record total number of daily COVID deaths earlier this week, around 6,148 deaths in a single day. Daily cases are remaining below 100,000 as the nation continues to fight a brutal outbreak of the disease. 100,000 cases per day. That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I really hope these Pfizer vaccines are not too little too late, and hopefully that they help India knock this thing out.
India is actually worse than what the media is representing, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there's someone that I do know who has family in India, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, the statistics don't even speak for the severity of the situation in India. There's been practically entire families being wiped out. There was a story done, I believe, I can't remember if it was the Associated Press or the New York Times, but there was a story done on a man in India who talked about how he lost pretty much his entire family to COVID. It is very sad and tragic. From the New York Times, the Federal Drug Administration has extended expiration dates by 6 weeks for doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, as millions were set to go to waste at the end of this month if unused. This gives states extra time to figure out how to distribute the doses, despite lagging vax numbers. Johnson & Johnson said in a statement that the vaccine has undergone several tests which show it remains stable at 4.5 months when refrigerated properly. From Reuters, new data shows that a higher than expected number of teen boys and young men are experiencing heart inflammation after their second dose of Moderna and Pfizer shots. Most cases occur within a week of vaccination. More than half the cases reported to the vaccine reporting system, MAERS, were in people between 12 and 24, which accounts for less than 9% of total vaccinations. Some patients require hospitalization, but the CDC says most fully recover from their symptoms. So just beware of that. A little bit of heart inflammation there for boys and young men. From NBC News, the Senate unanimously passed legislation to designate the Pulse nightclub a national memorial just several days before the 5th anniversary of the shooting there. The bill was introduced by Florida Senator Rick Scott. He was governor when the shooting occurred. The bill now heads to Biden's desk, and he is expected to sign it into law. From CNN Business, inflation rose 5% in the 12-month period ending in May, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and that's the biggest jump in consumer prices since August 2008. Both supply chain issues and higher demand continue to fuel a price increase across a number of sectors, including automobiles, plane tickets, furniture, clothing, and even meat. Speaking of automobiles, from The Verge, Tesla is officially kicking off deliveries of its all-new Model S Plaid sedan. CEO Elon Musk says the car will be faster than a Porsche but safer than a Volvo. I think that was a typo. I think it should say will be. It costs $120,000. The battery comes equipped with a range of up to 390 miles, and it can hit a top speed of 200 miles per hour. Like,
why?
If that's legal.
Unless you're
yeah,
on the
I was
Autobahn
gonna say.
in Germany.
Yeah. Also of note, the sedan features a steering yoke instead of a typical steering wheel. Interesting. Oh gosh. From
what's the point?
yeah. From Variety, it's the end of an era after 20 seasons and 9 spin-offs. The final episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians aired on E! last night. The most famous family in the world is moving away from reality TV and has signed a multi-year deal with Hulu. Nice. Details about their upcoming content are sparse, but they're expected to return to your TV screen later this year. Olympic rules from NPR. As of now, this year's Summer Olympics are still set to take place in Tokyo, with a very particular and unique set of rules in place as the world still grapples with the pandemic. Athletes will take daily tests and self-monitor, report their temperatures on a smartphone app. They cannot hug, high-five, or shake hands, and they cannot sightsee in Japan. Oh, that's disappointing. You can't sightsee. All right. Let's see here. From CNN, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors has voted unanimously to ban residents from feeding peacocks. After multiple reports of the birds damaging properties and shrieking in the middle of the night as they roam the streets. Some residents say they love the birds, but others complain about their behavior. Wow. That's interesting, especially if they have to ban the act of feeding them.
That's crazy.
Let's talk about COVID statistics real quick. This is from the New York Times Morning Edition. Roughly 20% of the world's people have received at least one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. The speed at which the remaining 80% are vaccinated will mean the difference between life and death for a staggering number of people, possibly in the millions. The race to vaccinate the world will be a major topic at the meeting of the G7 nations that begins today in England. The countries included increasingly have COVID under control within their own borders, but the pandemic remains an urgent threat across much of Latin America and parts of Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. In a speech in England yesterday, President Biden cited our humanitarian obligation in announcing that the U.S. would buy 500 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine and donate them to poorer countries. G7 leaders are expected to announce today that they will collectively donate 1 billion shots by the end of next year. After Biden's speech, Natalie Keelian, the deputy coordinator of his COVID response told us, "We are acting with the same urgency and applying the same whole government approach that we have applied here domestically. But these donations still leave the world very far from having enough doses anytime soon. In all, at least 10 billion more shots are probably needed." So who will pay? Money is not the main issue. Each additional dose is likely to cost $5 to $7. The Biden administration is roughly paying $7 per dose for the Pfizer shots, it is donating. In all, a campaign to vaccinate the rest of the world at a cost of $50 to $70 billion would amount to less than 1% of the global economic output this year. The cost is low enough that poorer countries can afford to cover much of it on their own, but it represents such a tiny share of rich countries' budgets that many experts have called on the G7 to take the lead. What about excess doses? One helpful source of doses will be those that the US and European countries have ordered and do not need. They bought these doses partly as an insurance policy against some vaccines not working. But with the Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca vaccines all proven to be highly effective, rich countries will ultimately have more doses than they need for their own populations. These excess doses could amount to 1 to 2 billion of the needed 10 billion doses. The next crucial step will be the production of these vaccines. The world already appears to be on pace to manufacture enough doses by late next year, yet that would be too slow to prevent many deaths. G7 nations can accelerate production by pushing for the removal of trade barriers that disrupt the flow of vaccine supplies, like glass vials. As an additional step, the Biden administration has called for waiving patent protections for COVID vaccines to expand the number of companies that can make them. But some experts doubt waivers will do much to lift supply given the complexity of manufacturing these vaccines. But the bottom line, between 7 million and 13 million people have died of COVID, according to an analysis by The Economist magazine. The pace has been speeding up, too. More people have already died in 2021 than did in all of 2020. A rapid global vaccination program, combined with natural immunity in people who have already had COVID, could create the same virtuous cycle that's underway in the U.S., Britain, and other countries. A decline in cases feeds on itself as there are fewer infected people able to spread the virus to others. And by prioritizing older people for shots, countries can cause deaths to decline even more sharply than cases. Most of the world, however, remains far from that outcome. So that was from New York Times. We're going to go ahead and take a break. That concludes our current events. When we come back, we're going to get into your weather forecast as well as news coming here right from Wright State University. So everybody stick around. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the
And we're back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It's time for your local weather forecast. The current weather at Wright State University, provided by Tomorrow.io, is cloudy and 74 degrees. The wind is coming from the north-northeast at 3 miles per hour. The relative humidity is 82%. The dew point is 67 degrees. The visibility is 10 miles. And the air quality is good. The forecast for the next 12 hours, the hyperlocal forecast calls for cloudy skies up until around 11:30 a.m. It's going to clear up a little bit. But it's going to be mostly cloudy otherwise for a remainder of the day. The clouds roll back in at 3:30 p.m. And then there's going to be an increased chance of showers and possibly thunderstorms, especially as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. The temperatures are going to approach the upper 70s by about 10:30. They're going to hit 80 degrees at roughly 12:30. Then it's going to keep going up into the mid-80s by about 4 p.m. And then it's going to start cooling off at around 7 p.m. Here's your extended weather forecast brought to you by the National Weather Service and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. But first off, we do have a little bit of a hazardous weather outlook in effect. Scattered showers are expected to develop this afternoon, along with isolated thunderstorms. The moist air mass over the region has an increased possibility for torrential rainfall, which could lead to isolated flooding over a slow-moving storm. The chance is kind of small that there will be flooding, but there is a slight chance today. These are slow-moving storms when they develop. So the forecast, mostly cloudy this morning, and then a chance of thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high in the mid-80s. Tonight, a chance of thunderstorms in the evening and then becoming mostly clear overnight, a low in the mid-60s. Saturday, mostly sunny in the morning, but giving away to a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, high in the upper 80s. Saturday night, a slight chance of thunderstorms, otherwise partly cloudy, low in the upper 60s. Sunday, a chance of showers, high in the mid-80s. Sunday night, mostly clear, low around 60. Monday, sunny, high in the mid-80s. Monday night, mostly clear, low around 60. Tuesday, mostly sunny, a little bit cooler, high around 80. And finally, Tuesday night, mostly clear, with a low around the low 50s. It's going to get a little cooler as we get into next week there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the latest happenings and announcements from Wright State University. Freshman outdoor orientation trip. Calling all incoming freshmen and sophomores. Join us as we hike 26 miles on the Appalachian Trail. It's called Foot, which offers an amazing opportunity for incoming students to meet a small group of new classmates and establish relationships with older student leaders. You will hike, camp outdoors, cook outdoors, play games, swim in waterfalls, and spend a day giving back to the mountains by learning how to build and maintain hiking trails. These trips are designed for all levels of experience. No prior backpacking experience is necessary. They are now open to both incoming freshmen and the sophomores who missed out on a classic intro to college of 2020 because of the COVID pandemic. There is a cost involved. You could check out the wings.wright.edu to see how much it will cost. The date of this trip is August 11th to 18th. The cost includes transportation, trip leaders, equipment, permit fees, camping fees, and all meals on location. You could contact Aaron Sheretz at wright.edu for more information. So that's ERIN.SHERRETS at wright.edu.
Let's not forget about that fitness test that you got to take before you go hiking.
Yeah, it did not mention the fitness test on this. Oh wait, that's a different one you're thinking of, Harmony.
Oh, that was the Colorado trip. Okay.
Yeah, that was the Colorado trip. So there's this one's not in the announcements, but it is on the Cork app, CORQ. You can download it for free from the Apple and Google Play Store. But there's another trip that's open to those who want to get involved in intermediate/strenuous hiking. I believe you're going to be climbing, the Colorado mountains, and you're going to have, for the first 8 miles, you're going to be climbing. I think it said 4,000 feet. So
Mhm.
it's pretty intense. So, but definitely check that out as well. New lifting programs are available from Campus Recreation. There's the Women on Weights program, which began yesterday. It's every Tuesday and Thursday from 12:15 to 1 and every Wednesday from 5:15 p.m. to 6 p.m. Women on Weights is a lifting program designed for women. It provides a safe and positive learning environment that welcomes all fitness levels and ages. Break fears, prejudices, and myths of women weightlifting and become stronger alongside a group of powerful women.
Ooh.
An experienced, knowledgeable personal trainer will teach you safe and effective weightlifting while also providing motivation and guidance. Meet back at the recreation desk. There's also Learn to Lift, which begins on June 14th and will be every Monday and Wednesday, 12:15 to 1 p.m., and every Tuesday and Thursday from 5:15 to 6 p.m. Learning to Lift is a 2-part seminar that meets twice a week for only 1 week. During the 2 sessions, you will learn the following topics from an experienced and knowledgeable personal trainer: lifting terminology, how to navigate a gym, how to lift safely and correctly, lifting for activities of daily living, compound exercises, how to create a workout routine suitable for your needs, how to become stronger, and so much more. Learning to Lift is an informative seminar that will prepare you for taking on lifting independently. In 2 short hours, you will feel more confident with your lifting skills and have a better understanding of lifting and the gym as a whole. The L2L session is a 2-part series. You can either meet Monday and Wednesday from 12:15 to 1 p.m. or Tuesday and Thursday for 5:15 to 6 p.m. for just that week. When you register for the session, you will automatically be registered for Wednesday as well. All right. As mentioned before, there is a drinking water warning in effect. There has been possible cross-contamination in the Biological Sciences 1 and 2 buildings, which could have spread across the water system. The warning is still in effect. It was issued on Wednesday and still in effect now. Do not use campus water for any purpose. And if you need bottled water, go to 065 Allen Hall. There's also this also affects the Hamilton Hall dorms, but it does not affect any other on-campus housing. With that being said, we're going to get now into our news. Let's see here. Organization Spotlight. So this is from the Guardian Media Group. They spotlighted international friendships. And this article was written by Olha Zuban. For involved international students, the nonprofit International Friendships Organization in Dayton, Ohio may be of interest. The organization works in partnership with the University Center for International Education Office, local churches, and communities with the purpose of helping international students to feel at home while they come for studies in the United States. IFI serves students from various universities in the Dayton area, such as Wright State University, Cedarville University, University of Dayton, and Sinclair Community College. They regularly organize events with an opportunity to get acquainted with students from different parts of the world and the chance to share their own culture. Back in 2012, Larissa Swartz, a first-year undergraduate student majoring in Spanish, became involved in the process of establishing IFI as a student organization. I met Gloria Kilios, who was teaching in the Learning English for Academic and Professional Purposes program, the intensive English program at Wright State University, Swartz said. As a former international student from Malaysia, the Gloria knew very well the many practical needs of international students and observed that there was a need in the Dayton area for an organization like IFI. Today, Swartz is current IFI Dayton area leader, while Gloria Kilios works with different IFI locations as the national field director. They have continued to work side by side starting from day one of founding IFI in Dayton. Gloria divinely connected with a local American couple, Lynn and Roger Brucker, who offered their home for our weekly IFI meetings, Swartz said. Up until COVID-19, we have met in their basement with groups for 5 to 105 people since the fall of 2012. The primary focus of IFI is to promote hospitality and friendship. The organization can help every international student, especially in the first months after coming to the new country, to adjust to the culture by connecting with locals. The best way to truly know a culture is through close relationships with people from that culture, Swartz said. The greatest challenge in our society today is truly listening and learning from people that are different from us. IFI is the place where you can become involved in a variety of activities, connect with new people from different countries, and learn something new about other cultures. Our goal is to make the world feel at home, whether through food, games, trips, events, or good conversations about the important things in life, Swartz said. Christian volunteers at IFI can assist students with airport pickup, temporary housing, driving lessons, grocery shopping, and many other activities that all international students might seek at some point when studying life in a foreign country. IFI and its volunteers believe that our perspectives have changed and strengthened through relationship and hospitality because of how we ourselves experience God's love and hospitality towards us, said Swartz. Besides highlighting traditional American holidays, IFI tries to celebrate all international events that students used to have in their home countries. They also offer the Truman House and free care bags. If you want to read more about that, you could go to wsuguardian.com. Let's turn it over to the Wright State Newsroom for Diver Striver. Wright State Education and Divining alumnus J.R. Geraci uses his degree to support career twists and turns. This is from Jim Hanna. He's dived into most everything all his life. He dived into college, he dived into the water on the swim team, and then he dived into business, selling golf carts and now pizza as the owner of the Beaver Creek Pizza Dive. Wright State University education alumnus J.R. Geraci has this bit of advice for students. Follow the opportunity wherever it takes you. Geraci, who graduated with a bachelor's degree in education in 1987, said he not only learned how to be a good teacher at Wright State, but also mastered study, research, and people skills. You are always going to benefit from the education you get at Wright State University, he said. You gain so much knowledge and confidence that when you get out, and it happens to more people than you would know, they don't use their major directly. They go in a different direction. But that major allowed them to learn life skills that make them successful as they move forward. Geraci was a walk-on for the swim team at Wright State. It's hard to miss his name and image in the Wright State natatorium. He has splashed all over the walls on banners and plaques. A 2003 inductee into the Wright State Swimming and Diving Wall of Fame, he earned 4 All-American honors during his career and holds the 3-meter 11 dive school record with a score of 566.00. Going to Wright State was a wonderful experience. It gave me book knowledge of what I needed, he said. But the springboard diving gave me a lot of confidence in myself and the ability to tackle problems as they happen. After graduating from Wright State, Geraci taught elementary school in Fairborn. My dad was a teacher, so I thought it was a good calling for me as well, he said. I was very prepared. At Wright State, we had both urban and suburban experience. While he was teaching, Geraci returned to Wright State as the diving coach and to teach in the Health and Physical Recreation Department, duties he performed for 3 years. 20 years later, he would return to coach diving for another 3 years. I had very good success as with the divers as the coach, he said. After teaching in Fairborn for a year, Geraci had an opportunity to sell, rent, and service golf carts in Cincinnati. When the owners retired, he brought the business and began managing it at the age of 27. After many years of doing that, Geraci made another career swerve. My wife was in marketing, and I decided I wanted to do something we could work on together, he said. The store became available, and I said, let's do pizza. So the Beaver Creek Pizza Dive was born 14 years ago, the name inspired by Geraci's days of springboard diving. The restaurant makes and sells New York-style pizza, pretzels, and oven-baked sandwiches.
And they're delicious.
Oh, you had them before?
Oh, my God, they're delicious. You got to go. Anybody that's in that area has got to taste their food. It's delicious.
Oh, nice. I might, since you're plugging them, I might have to go check them out for myself, too.
Yeah, basically real good. It's authentic, I feel. And with that last name, it sounds interesting because weirdly, I think we're related on my great-grandmother's side to Geraci's.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, which is interesting because that's an unusual name.
So continuing on, everything is homemade. Our own bread, our own dough, and our own sauce. No wonder why it tastes so good.
Delicious, trust me. Gotta taste it.
We cut our slices real big so you can fold them like a New Yorker, he said.
Yes, they do.
Nice.
They're delicious.
After you come here, you're going to wonder why you never came before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They hear it all the time. You know what? We should probably do that. Next time I'm over there, we should try them out.
No, they don't deliver. You got to go there.
Nick and I can go over there. To keep staff and customers safe during the COVID-19 pandemic, Geraci turned the 43-seat lobby into a production area and currently only offers home delivery or delivery to customers in the parking lot.
Interesting. So we might have to drive over.
Yeah. Geraci also owns the Beaver Creek Event Center and manages residential and commercial properties in the Dayton area. Over the years, Geraci has employed many Wright State students at the Beaver Creek Pizza Dive and offers scholarship money to student employees with good grades. Nice. See, this is what I love about local businesses is they do things like this. They, offering scholarships.
They feed the community.
Exactly.
They feed the community. They give back. Yes, it's important.
Having Wright State in our backyard feeds us with high-quality individuals that can help us run our business, he said. We like to hire people that have goals and a future. We find that they are very productive team members. And that was the article.
Nice.
That was very cool.
Hats off to you, Mr. Geraci. Awesome.
Yeah, so you mentioned like they're really good and everything like that. What kind of what's your favorite stuff to get from that restaurant, or what did you get specifically, Harmony?
Oh, I just can't even. All of it's good. Love the pretzels; those are amazing. Pizza's wonderful, and just anything. I think I've tried a little bit of everything because I'd gone to a birthday party some time ago when it changed over to the Pizza Dive. Mm-hmm. And they had a bunch of different things, from there. So, yeah, definitely delicious. Definitely. Very much so authentic, very much so homemade. Everything I feel is made with love, for sure, because each bite is just, wonderful. Nice. I'm hungry for it now.
I said next time I'm over, we're going to have to get us some, because I want to try it, too.
Oh, that, or maybe when Chipmunk comes over and comes into town, we can all go.
Yeah, there we go. There's an idea.
We'll go drive through, we'll call in, pick it up, and bring it back.
Yeah, because I haven't had Pizza Dive yet. I want to try that.
You'll love it. It's, I can't even say enough. God bless you for making wonderful, delicious food for this little fat Italian woman in Bellbrook. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's funny. All right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our top of the hour a little early because I need to give my voice a rest for a few minutes. But when we come back, it will be time for your daily inspiration. And then coming up at 10:30 is Free Talk Friday. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Don't go anywhere.
Why was the basketball court open?
And we're back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. And now we have a guest in the studio, Bailey from the Jones Review. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing awesome, Patrick. How about yourself?
I'm doing swell. I'm running off of the caffeine from the sunrise tea that I'm drinking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into our daily reflection now, or daily inspiration. And today's topic is why we often fail when we set big goals and what actually works. And I know this is something that Harmony and I have talked about a lot before.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
About, chopping your goals into smaller, more manageable parts. And I think that's where this article is going to go.
Bite-sized pieces, yeah.
We'll see where this takes us. So this is written by Justin Gasparovic from Tiny Buddha. And a quote from James Clear: "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." So the article begins. If you pull up any popular motivational video today, you'll probably hear things like set big goals and aim high and don't stop until you get there. After watching a video like this, you may get inspired and start mapping out your plan to leave the 99% in the dust. And typically, because you're riding a wave of motivation, you'll write out these monstrous Mount Everest-like goals. These goals paint a picture of your life that is so exciting you can't wait to wake up and get to work the next morning. But when you roll out of bed and take a look at the goals you set the day before, reality hits you like a truck. Instead of being motivated to take action, you feel a massive wall of internal resistance. You want to take action, you know you need to take action, but for some reason you can't force yourself to muster up the discipline necessary to make progress. So instead, you choose the path of least resistance. You retreat to the comfortable and the familiar and then decide that you're going to wait just one more day. Have we heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One day turns into 2 days turn into 2 weeks, and then weeks turn into months. But luckily, time heals all wounds, and 6 months later, you get another surge of motivation and try it all over again. And this is where most people find themselves in life, stuck on the self-improvement hamster wheel. So how do you stop the vicious cycle, and what's the best way to facilitate lifestyle changes that you can actually stick to? We'll talk about that in a moment, but I'm going to pause here and ask, Harmony, Laughing Chipmunk, Bailey, have you related to this where you set goals so high that they end up intimidating you and then you don't do them?
Yeah. They're man, I gotta tell you, I had so many goals back in the day when I was still in high school, and there's goals that I set for myself that were pretty high, but it was very intimidating just to even look at them because
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to reach this level? How am I going to improve myself? Just with my English or with my, speaking to people or trying to improve my physicality or just how to improve myself daily.
Mhm.
And, I just had to look at it like just take it one day at a time. And if you set a goal that's simple for that day or for that week, then make it simple. Make it simple to where you can do it. It's doable, where it's not such a hard goal to where, you set it for like a good year and then, things happen, things pop up. So you never know what happens in life. And, you just got to set those simple goals to where, it's just basically like a checkbox, did I complete this week or did I complete that? So, it's just something that it's a process and you got to trust it, and just something that you just got to improve yourself every day. And just, it's a like 1 to 2 day process or like a week process. And, it also, people are different too. So they have their own goals, but it's a process and take it one step at a time, So.
Yeah. Harmony, Life of Chipmunk, you want to chime in?
I can agree because if we tend to set things too a little unrealistic, It makes it harder to follow through. And then we get disappointed, discouraged, and then we may even give up the project completely. So I feel like it's best just to set small little things at a time, maybe, 3 or so things, goals, like you said, and checkbox. I agree with Bailey on that one, definitely. You need to have a little list going. Check them off one by one, and just, don't give yourself like this big, huge, long checklist, because it's like you look at it and you're like, oh my God, how am I ever going to achieve all that? Just pick, 1 or 2 things, possibly even 3, for the first week or even 2 weeks, depending on what your project is and how large it is, and then just go from there. But it's really important to set things that are realistic, as opposed to, it's great to listen to motivational speakers, but, you also have to go at your own pace and remember the motivation, but just go at your own pace. Slow and steady will always win the race.
Yeah. What about you, Laughing Chipmunk?
Oh, I agree. I even myself, I need help with setting goals. Just simple goals of, cleaning my house, tidying it up and everything. It's like, you know, sometimes it's just overwhelming because I just want to do everything at once. And then I
Yeah.
get overwhelmed and I get distracted. And, everybody keeps telling me just take, do one thing at a time,
Smallest room first.
focus on that. What?
Smallest room first.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like my problem is focusing. I can't focus on one thing, at a time. And it's like I get distracted so easily.
Ooh,
We
squirrel.
know.
Oh, yeah, you guys know me. It's like, oh my gosh, I never get anything
To be
done.
fair, I don't help with the situation. I'm always distracting her too. Sending her videos and things like that to check out.
Hey,
Send her
but
a
that's
video of a
okay. I
clean house.
like those.
Yeah.
I
True.
like those videos. That makes my day, because it's like I'll like be in a bad mood or a depressed mood, and then Patrick will send me something. I'll be, laughing my butt off, and that it'll be like, oh my gosh, that just made my day. So I wouldn't call that a distraction. I would call that cheering up.
So, kind of on the same note as Bailey, when I was in high school, I had set a pretty high goal for myself, and that was to get out of to have a 3.5 GPA. And believe it or not, I succeeded the first year that I was there. I succeeded with a 3.8
Oh, wow.
my freshman year.
Congrats.
The problem was maintaining that.
Yep. Yeah.
Because the high school that I went to was very, very intense. They had a very intense grading scale. It was a 7 point, so like 93 to 100 was an A, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So anything below a 70 was an F
What?
at that school. Whereas here at Wright State, I think it's either 55 or 60, depending on the class. But yeah, it was a very intense school. You often had homework, a little bit of homework in every class every day. I was not able to keep that GPA up, unfortunately. I ended up, having to dial myself back, get some therapy and things like that because it was just too much. So, yeah, I could definitely see, problems with making goals too big for yourself. And you don't have to be this superhero that can tackle all of the crime in the city in one night. Like, really, is anybody realistically going to be able to do that? We're human. We have limitations. So it's important to recognize our limitations, and set goals that we can accomplish personally.
Even superheroes have limitations. Even Superman had his weakness against kryptonite, for God's sake.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So continuing the article here, this is This is Justin's story of how big goals ruined his life. When I was a sophomore in high school, I had ambitions to become an NBA basketball player. Despite the fact that I was 5 feet 6 inches tall, had below average quickness, and could barely jump over a stack of books, I was determined to prove everyone wrong. At this point, I didn't have my driver's license yet, so my wonderful mother would get up at 4:30 in the morning and drive me to my school gym early enough to get up shots before class. To make the long story short, I was cut from the team a few months into my sophomore year, and my NBA aspirations died right then and there. When I was a freshman in college, my focus had shifted to day trading the stock market. Once again, I had complete confidence that I was going to turn day trading into a full-time income, and once again, I was wrong. The $1,000 that I had deposited into my Robinhood account disappeared in 2 months, leaving me with no financial flexibility to invest it to my dream of becoming a full-time day trader. During my sophomore year of college, I made the biggest decision I had ever made in my life up to that point. Despite having good grades, I decided to drop out of school and start my own marketing agency.
Ooh.
Let me tell you, that phone call with my parents is undoubtedly the most emotional conversation I've ever had with my life. I even distinctly remember my own cousin telling me, "I think that you are going to regret this decision for the rest of your life." Still, I was unbothered because I knew in my heart that I needed to give this a shot. A month after telling my parents I wanted to drop out of the school, I was on a flight back home to California, and yet again, I found myself in a similar spot. Just a kid following his heart with some colossal goals. Filled with passion and drive, I set myself a goal to build the agency to $50,000 a month in revenue by the following year. To reach that goal, I committed to at least 2 hours per day of prospecting and another 2 hours of educating myself on the real estate marketing agency. By now, I think you could get where this is going. For 15 months, I worked at trying to achieve my goals. The highest monthly revenue target I was able to achieve was a measly $6,000 per month. Despite desperately wanting to taste wealth and success, I had failed yet again. It was at this point in my life when I really took a step back and engaged in deep reflection. After all, I had just been following the wisdom that successful people have been preaching for decades. Set big goals and don't stop working until you accomplish them. Was it me that was a failure, or was it my system? Why is it that so many people, including me, continually set big goals that they can never accomplish? Pondering these questions drove me to explore the world of self-development. The power of identity. I had always been passionate about self-improvement, but I had never really delved into the science and research behind what actually facilitates true behavior change. My research eventually led me to reach 2 life-changing conclusions. Setting big goals does more harm than good for people who want to change their lives. True behavior change occurs when you commit to small, seemingly insignificant shifts in your daily behavior. After spending hundreds of hours combing through research on habits, behavior change, and neuroscience, I finally had the aha moment that shifted my entire perspective on life. The fatal problem with setting big goals is that they focus on the outcomes we want to achieve as opposed to the type of person we want to become. The most powerful force in the human body is the desire to be consistent with who we've been in the past. Behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last, which is why big goals are often so hard to accomplish. You may have a goal to make $1 million business, but if your identity is that of someone who procrastinates on important work, it's unlikely you're ever going to hit that goal. You may have a goal to lose weight, but if your identity is consistent with someone who eats fast food regularly and lives a sedentary lifestyle, you'll continue to be pulled towards actions that sabotage your weight loss goals. You may have some new goals, but you still haven't changed who you are. I wanted to build a marketing agency even though I was the type of person who procrastinated and refused to get out of my comfort zone. It was the inability to change those underlying beliefs that ultimately led to my failure. So we're going to pause again for a moment here and talk about this. So, reflecting back at those moments where we have set big goals for ourselves and weren't able to do it, would you say that your heart, so to speak, wasn't in the right place? So, would you agree with Justin that your identity didn't match your goals and what you wanted to do? So, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I guess my thoughts are, uh, there's times where your heart isn't in the right place, and you could be focusing on something else that differs from your goal, and it's kind of hard because a goal is something that you want to improve on in the future, and it's something that you set yourself for, but will you actually do it? And
Mm-hmm.
it's that perseverance and that mentality that you have to keep, and just got to make sure that you pursue that goal and keep it going, and
Yeah.
that it's kind of difficult for other people to do that. And with that goal, and he was talking about, for example, you want to lose weight and get healthier and eating fast food. I'm guilty for that because I like fast food, and food is like good, and I just I'm a sucker for canes and a hot head burrito, and it's
Oh.
hard, and
Okay.
yeah.
I have to ask this question. Did you get Scott hooked on canes or did Scott get you hooked on canes?
Scott got me hooked on canes.
Ah.
I literally like after Scott got me here in the studio and with the canes. That's when I was like, man, canes is good now. Like
Canes
It is pretty
like
good.
It's
Yeah.
like cocaine. That stuff is
literally,
excellent.
like Chick-fil-A and canes are cocaine. Like literally, they put crack in their food. Like
They
I
have
don't know what
to
it
because
is.
it is good. I love
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
You've had them too, Harmony?
Yeah, they're right down the road from me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they have some really good chicken.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it's
KFC.
amazing.
I'm sorry, KFC, but Canes blows you out of the water.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, might need to change it up. The chicken sandwiches and stuff. So.
Yeah. All right. Continuing on, how to achieve your biggest goals by thinking small. And this is something we've been talking about. If big goals are not the answer, then what is? The key is to focus on who you want to be as opposed to the outcomes you want to achieve. You need to become the type of person who can reach the standards that you have set for yourself. Your identity emerges out of your daily habits. You don't come out of the womb with a present identity. Whoever you are right now is a direct result of the daily habits that you've developed up to this point. In order to start forming new beliefs about yourself, you need to start building new habits. The formula for changing your identity is a simple two-step process. First, figure out the type of person that you want to become, and then commit to small changes that align with your ideal self. First off, you have to decide what kind of person you want to be. When setting goals, most people are guided by the question, what do I want to achieve? Instead, try asking yourself, who is the type of person that can get the kind of outcomes that I want? Instead of setting a goal to lose 50 pounds, ask yourself, who is the type of person that can lose 50 pounds? Instead of setting a goal to build $1 million business, ask yourself, who is the type of person that can build $1 million business? The beauty of focusing on identity change is that your success is no longer tied to arbitrary targets. Let's say that you set a goal to lose 50 pounds in 6 months. As you pursue this goal, you start walking every day and improve your diet. At the end of 6 months, you step on the scale and you've lost 37 pounds. Did you achieve your goal? Nope, you're 13 pounds short. However, what if your goal was simply to become a healthy individual? Did you achieve that goal? Absolutely. Once you've figured out what kind of person you want to become, the next step is to commit to small shifts in your daily behavior. Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. And this is the principle that guided my life for 19 years. Through consistent trial and error, I've realized that true behavior change is the product of small, incremental change compounded over time. We tend to dismiss the effectiveness of small actions because they don't make an immediate impact. If you walk for 2 minutes per day,
For a week, you're not going to see the number on the scale move much. If you meditate for 60 seconds for a few days in a row, you're not going to turn into that Dalai Lama. However, what you will do is give your brain concrete evidence that you're a different person. James Clear puts this beautifully when he says, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does evidence of your new identity." Once you've nailed down your desired identity, come up with a daily habit that you can perform no matter how you feel. When you set big goals, your brain tricks you into thinking that the present level of motivation you feel will carry over to when it's time to take action. By focusing on shrinking your daily targets, you're taking motivation and willpower out of the equation. And here's a few practical examples of this concept. Meditating for 10 minutes per day becomes meditating for 60 seconds per day. Walking for 30 minutes per day becomes walking for 2 minutes. Reading for 30 minutes becomes reading 1 page. Journaling for 15 minutes every night becomes writing 1 sentence. Writing 1,000 words per day becomes writing 50 words per day. It really doesn't matter how successful you are right now. All that matters is that you're on the right path. Once these small habits are solidified into your daily life, you'll have mastered the art of showing up and acting in alignment with your desired identity. Since your brain now has some new evidence, you'll be able to stretch yourself and gradually aim higher. And that's the true power of small habits. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, positive effects of your habits multiply as they become a part of who you are. So the next time you get motivated to change your life, forget about setting huge goals. If you do this, the power of your identity will loom large over you and prevent you from taking action. Harness the power of small, incremental change. Have the courage to set the bar low enough and aim at targets that you can actually hit on a daily basis. Solidify the small habit into your life and then do the same thing with another habit, and then another, and then another. Soon enough, you will become someone unrecognizable. So that is the article. And honestly, that's an interesting take. So, Harmony and I have always talked about the importance of setting small goals, and that's no exception. Justin's brought that up in the article. But one thing that I've never thought about before with goal setting is setting with the intent of focusing on your identity rather than the outcome. So what is your thoughts on that?
I think it has a lot to do with not just that, but alignment. We were talking about how, what's in your heart, but when you look at it, with everything that we do here, it's like alignment doesn't necessarily mean just your passion and what you have in your heart on what you want to do and what you got your heart set on, but it's also a head and heart connection, because your heart's your second brain, so that's going to produce a lot of oomph when you get it into action. But it's like you have to align with those two factors. And in that alignment process, it's not just the passion of what you want to do. It's also bringing your thoughts into alignment with what it is that you're going to do. And then, of course, then there's whole changing your character, changing who you are. In fact, I think one of the biggest motivational gurus from what I'm seeing would be Tony Robbins, which that even is not his real name. That's the character, quote unquote, that he has turned himself into to be a motivational speaker. And he is certainly a very dynamic force. I've seen him a few times and I've watched him a lot on YouTube. But he basically tells us that the small progression, this man used to be a janitor, and now he's like multimillionaire times over and runs like an amazing business of just running around different places, teaching people how to do what he's doing and helping you change. And that's the thing. We have to change ourselves, personally, and then align with what it is that we want to bring to us, and then follow our passion, to get there. So it's kind of like, set of blueprints, set of driving instructions that we need to follow along. to get to that point. But setting things small in small digestible pieces is the best thing that you can do for yourself. I mean, that's less intimidating. It's going to help. It's going to keep you more positive and more motivated than just being on fire, running out the door going, okay, well, I'm going to go do this, and then you come back and you're like, well, that's not going to work. So, making the notable changes, getting that alignment there, and making sure everything else goes, and then you'll be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Good planning.
And one thing that I've always brought up in terms of goal setting and things like that, and they teach us a lot in like leadership workshops and things like that, is the acronym SMART when it comes to setting goals. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So when you set your goals, you want them to be specific goals. Don't just say, I want to lose weight. That's not very specific. How much weight do you want to lose? What's your intent of losing weight? What's the frequency at which you want to lose weight? Like, do you want to lose 1 pound per week? Do you want to lose 2 pounds per week? What's your target date? How do you want to lose your weight? Do you want to lose your weight through dieting, through more exercise? See where I'm going with that? There's a
Well,
whole
you don't
lot
want to say lose, because then that means you just want to find it again. So let's drop,
True.
let's shed, let's kick
Let's
it to the
shed
curb.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's burn that weight. There you go. So yeah, there's that. And then measurable. If you don't have some sort of way to measure your progress, then how are you going to know when you have achieved your goal? So again, if you don't set a specific, something you can measure, if you just say, I want to shed weight, well, how do you know when you've achieved that goal? Same thing with attainable. I want to shed 100 pounds by next week.
Oof.
You're probably going to end up in the
Die.
hospital if you do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way. You'd be like
I don't know how
stretched
someone
out
can lose
somewhere.
100 pounds in 1 week. That's
So,
impossible.
Attainable and realistic. It's got to be attainable and realistic. And then time.
That'd be about 1 to 2 pounds per week, because that's the safety zone.
Yeah, so they say you're not supposed to lose any more than 2 pounds per week. Otherwise, it becomes unhealthy for you. Same thing with weight gain as well. So if you're somebody like me who's underweight and want to gain weight, same principle. You're supposed to only gain 1 to 2 pounds per week in order for it to be healthy for you. And then the whole timely thing comes into play as well. I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay. When?
6 months from now.
Yeah.
There you go.
If you don't have a date, then when are you going to do it? Because if you don't have a date, then you're not going to have a reason to motivate yourself to do it. So that's how SMART goals work. But I like this idea of putting your identity in there as well. What's the whole reason you want to lose weight? Is it, to be a more healthy individual? Is it so that you could fit into that dress that you want to wear at the ball in 6 months? See where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that the way that Justin framed that. Any final thoughts before we take a break and get into Free Talk Friday? I take that as a no. So we're going to go ahead and take a break on the Wright Morning Show. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. And when we come back, we're going to interview Bailey here and talk about his show, The Jones Review, which has taken off quite significantly here on WWSU. So
Yes, sir.
what's his key to success on his show? What does he even do on his show? What is it? All of that and more coming up on the Wright Morning Show. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
This is a campus bulletin. A drinking water
Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is Free Talk Friday, and normally Scotty would be doing this segment, but he is out today. So it's going to be me. And in the studio with me, I have Bailey, who is the host of the Jones Review. The Jones Review airs every Friday from 11:30 to 1 p.m. on WWSU radio. So actually, he's going to be going on the air 30 minutes after we sign off. So you're definitely going to want to tune into that. So first off, Bailey, give yourself a little bit of an introduction. Tell us who you are.
Well,
Oops, sorry, I forgot to throw your mic on. Say that again.
Well, Patrick, my name is Bailey Jones, and I am from Dayton, Ohio. And basically, I come from a small town with bunch of people that I know, and I love superheroes. I love video games and movies and TV shows, and it kind of developed over the years since I had a great childhood and everything, and very supportive family, and I would hang out with my dad, and we would watch all these movies and TV shows and cartoons, and over the years, I've been trying to find myself as a human being and trying to find who I am as a person, and doing okay at that, and just trying to find my way in life. And I went to I'm gonna transfer soon, but I go to UC, University of Cincinnati, for communications, but it will soon change, and I'll transfer soon to Full Sail University. But down the road, Scotty came up with this idea of me having my own show when I told him my ideals and my goals that I want to set for myself soon when I go to Full Sail. And Scotty pitched to me my own radio show. I'm like, sure, why not? Sounds like a great idea. And, it's just something that I haven't done before. I had my own radio show. And, I'm very thankful and blessed to been given this opportunity to have my own radio show. And, the Jones Review. And the Jones Review, it conducts of me reviewing the entertainment industry, which is movies, TV shows, and video games. And I want my show to be very vibrant and exciting to listen to, and just to have positive vibes on the show. And just it's very relaxed and something that you can just sit back and listen to. And I want something that you want to enjoy to listen to. I want to give that entertainment dash, great time, and I couldn't ask for any more, and it's just I'm glad that I'm able to have my own radio show, and I'm thankful, very thankful. But when I came into the show, I wanted to come in with a positive mindset and believe that no matter what I'm going to do, everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to talk about what I love, and it definitely helps. And I was nervous when I had my first episode, and you can tell I was like nervous but excited for it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful that I'm able to have my own show. And I've been number one for the last 4 weeks.
I think ever since you started.
Yeah, ever since I started. But I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm thankful to be number one still, but that's not what I'm trying to aim for. I'm trying to aim for to improve myself each episode with the feedback that I have been given.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do, but I want to feel like I feel comfortable on the radio show, and I definitely feel comfortable. And I've been given so many like great feedback on how it feels natural that I'm a talk radio show host and everything, and it's just I'm like, do I though? I mean, there's times where I feel like somebody else, or I feel like I'm somewhere else as a person, but I'm just glad to be able to have this opportunity and to show everyone what I can do and what kind of content I can produce. But the Jones Review, it's a great show. On today's episode, I'm gonna have my own guest, which is myself today. But well, other episodes I'll have other guests on the show every week, every Friday. But it's a great show. If you guys like movies, TV shows, and video games, then that's the show, the Jones Review. And on today's episode, I will be talking about E3 and Superman and Lois and Loki. So if you guys are interested in listening to it, tune in.
What time is your show, Bailey?
11:30 through 1 p.m.
Awesome. I'll listen.
Yeah, so it's 30 minutes after we sign off.
Yeah.
There we go.
If you want, Harmony, I'll keep you on the phone line for his show.
I think that'll short the shower out. I need to.
I would love that, honestly, Harmony. I mean,
Is short the what out?
It'll short the shower out, short the phone out in the shower. I got to shower before I do anything. But yeah, I'll definitely give you a listen. I know my son is all up into his video games and entertainment and things like that, especially video games. He's a big old video nerd. So like thousands of games back there. It's crazy. And every single PlayStation you could ever own.
I have a question for you. Sorry to interrupt, Harmony, but is your son excited for E3?
Oh, God, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about that on my show today.
Yeah, he's always into every platform coming out and what's new and just everything about it. So he's always been like that.
That's awesome.
And see, I'm just a standard PC gamer. I have no idea what the heck E3 is. I've never heard of that before.
That is a video game, like awards in a sense, where they
go
over
it's an
and
awards
review
thing?
Yeah, they go over and review new stuff. Bailey
Nice.
could probably explain it better than I could, for sure.
Yeah, E3 is basically like a big game convention, but it's kind of like Comic-Con, but it's mainly a showcase of games and announcements and what game companies and video game developers have to show for the fans, basically. And,
very cool.
Well, sometimes it's big reveals, sometimes it's indie games, sometimes it's a new console or a new version of that console, or it's all kinds of, it's basically everything for like a video game convention. So it's great. So
nice. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. When you were kind of introducing yourself, so you had mentioned that you had grown up with movies and superheroes and things like that. So I
Yes.
wanted to ask you, what's your favorite superhero, and which superhero inspired you the most growing up?
Oh, that's difficult, but
Yeah, which one do you most want to be like too? Let's not forget
Okay.
that.
Oh
There's one
yeah. Okay.
from Harmony.
Well, that's realistic. It's hard because I like Marvel and DC, but I'll go with Marvel on this one. Hulk, because the Incredible Hulk, because he's the strongest there is and stuff. But with my take on it, I want to be the strongest there is, but in my own way, but emotionally, physically, and mentally. And I want to improve myself each time. But he also has another alias, Bruce Banner, which he's like the smartest mind on earth. But I want to be that positive guy that brings, I'll just welcome everybody. I'll just say hi to people, or just, I want to be the nicest guy on the planet, hopefully. But I know that nice guy can't do everything himself. But, I want to be that positive person in the world, basically. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So.
Very cool.
But yeah, Hulk is my favorite superhero of all time, no matter what. So.
Nice.
Do you guys have any favorite superheroes?
Harmony, I'll let you go on this one first if you want, because I do need to think a little bit about this.
I've always been a big Spider-Man fan.
Spider-Man,
so yeah, my son and I like that one. That was always his favorite as well. But I remember even before I was a mom, I used to watch that cartoon like all the time. So I always thought he was pretty cool, swinging from the Empire State Building all over the place.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Spider-Man's a great Marvel character, and he's the most popular out of all these other characters, honestly. But I totally agree with that.
For me, I would say like the most relatable. I can't really place a favorite right now, but I could say probably one of the most relatable for me would be Batman, specifically because I'm a night owl. That's one. And secondly, I like to be left alone a lot. And Batman's one of those, independent superheroes, I would say, other than Robin, of course, helping him out with what he needs to do. But yeah, he seems to be a very independent type of and mysterious type of superhero.
Definitely is for sure. But
All right.
yeah. Oh, what were you about to say? Sorry.
I was going to ask, what about movies? What's your favorite movie? Genres of movies, things like that.
Well, my favorite genre movies are action and adventure, sci-fi. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. I love sci-fi movies and TV shows, but mainly movies.
Hmm.
And sometimes romantic comedies and everything. But yeah, I would say action and adventure. My favorite movie would be Avengers Endgame because of course, I love superheroes, but it's a great action movie, and it has all elements that you need in a movie and stuff. But that's my favorite movie for right now. What's your favorite movie?
Uh, I'm usually a Monty Python type of person.
Oh, okay.
So, I like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I can really respect that movie because of how small their budget was and how much they were able to do in that small budget. In fact, John Cleese, one of the Monty Pythons, mentioned that they wanted horses in that movie, but they didn't have the budget to get horses. So instead, they came up with the idea of the coconuts and clomping the coconuts together to imitate a horse
Hmm.
moving. And what was funny was that inspired them to add a whole bunch of new dialogue to the movie because then they have now they have the French taunter making fun of them for using coconuts instead of horses. And it just came out to be a really hilarious scene. They're just subtly ripping off their producers for giving them such a low budget in the movie. It was great learning the backstory behind
Hmm.
that. And Laughing Chipmunk can attest to the pythons as well. Laughing Chipmunk, do you? Oh, she had a head off. Unfortunately, it looks
Oh.
like. I know she mentioned she was waiting for a veterinarian call for one of her cats that just got spayed. So that's probably what happened. But yeah, she can attest for Monty Python and the Holy Grail. When she went on her first date with her ex-husband, her ex-husband took her to the movie theater to watch that movie, and she mentioned that she pretty much fell off the chair laughing, especially with the monk scene. When they're going E-A-A, su, do, mi, ne, and then they hit themselves with the 4x4. She said that's what got her, and she died in laughter from that. There's so many really quirky and funny scenes from that movie. Life of Brian is also a really good one. And I think Life of Brian so Monty Python and the Holy Grail is great because of what they did with how little they had. But Life of Brian had a much bigger budget, and so they were able to make a much more rounded out movie with the Life of Brian. They were able to give it a much better plot line and storyline because of the budget that they were giving. And that's what makes Life of Brian a really good movie compared to the Holy Grail. Holy Grail was just one of those, watch because it's so quirky and they got a lot of funny, humoristic moments, but it doesn't really have much of a plot line other than trying to find the Grail. And we all know how that ended up being. I'm not going to spoil it for people, but so yeah, that's where I go in terms of movies. What about so we're gonna go now back to the Jones review. What are your most notable episodes so far, would you say?
Well, I gotta say, I would say the most notable episodes are when I have guests on my shows. When I have guests on my show, excuse me.
Hmm.
I would say the best episodes so far are when I had my guests Brendan Donald and Todd Bales and John Connect, and I would say those are the most notable episodes so far. And hopefully, you guys check them out or listen to them if you want to. But I would say those are the most noticeable episodes for sure.
Um, what happened on that episode? Like, what did y'all talk about?
So on the Brendan Donald episode, we basically talked about all these movies and TV shows and video games. For example, uh, it was, I think, Star Wars Bad Batch, and
Mm.
hold on, I gotta check my. No, we talked about. I think it was. It's been a while since Godzilla versus Kong, and we talked about Justice Society World War II, which is like an animation movie with DC characters like the Flash and Jay Garrick and Wonder Woman and everything. And then we also talked about Love, Death, and Robots, which is on Netflix too, and it's a great watch for sure. And then I think I also talked about Supernatural too on that episode. And then when Todd Bales came on to the next episode, we talked about Family Guy, which hopefully everyone knows that show.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I did a review for that. And then we talked about E3 a little bit, and then video games general, and just everything about video games and what's to come in the future for gaming. And then for John Connect, when he was on my show, we talked about Marvel Spider-Man, the 2 video games that came out for PlayStation. And then we also talked about future movies that are coming out for Marvel. And I think I also talked about Army of the Dead, which is on Netflix too. And then, yeah, that basically sums it up for the episodes for those times. So, yeah,
Very cool.
very great times. We talk about a lot of movies, TV shows, and video games. There's a lot of content that we talk about, and that's exciting to talk about at times. So, and also it's always exciting too. But yeah, that's the Jones Review for you.
Nice. Let's see what other questions I can ask you. What are your plans for the Jones Review in the future? Where do you hope to take the show?
Right now, I thought about it so far, but I'm thinking of bringing it with me in Florida and developing it and involving it over time, and hopefully, it becomes big and stuff. But this is my project and stuff. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to develop and evolve and show off to people. And when I talk about it with other people, they're always excited to hear, like, oh, you have a radio show? I'm like, yeah, I do. And then they check it out and they're like, this is really good and stuff. And, my dad is really supportive of me doing this. And, he's just telling me that I have talent and everything. And, I do have talent, of course, but I want to improve and develop on that and make myself better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But what I want to do with this, I want to make this into something that's beautiful and creative, and that's something that it's my own, and I definitely develop my own words and my own tone for the show. So that's what I want to do for the show going forward.
Very cool. I also wanted to ask, do you have a methodology to how you review movies and entertainment, etc., on your show? Do you have like a structure, a rating system, or things like that?
Yes, I do, Patrick.
Nice.
For my rating and my review, I like to talk about the show a little bit. I like to talk about, or the movie or video game. I like to describe what the entertainment is all about for that show or movie or TV show or video game. And as I talk about it, I talk about the characters, the story, sort of the premise of it, but not give too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a 1 through 10 scale, but from the feedback that I have gotten, now I do out of 5 stars to give a better review.
Yeah, it seems, and especially when YouTube got away with the 5-star system and did the like and dislike thing, it seems to be easier for people to quantify smaller numbers,
Right.
from what I can notice. But then on the flip side of that is you can't be as precise with your reviews when you have smaller numbers.
Right. And the reason why I'm doing out of 5 stars, because it's that rating, like it gets to the point, like instead of just a decimal, like a 1 through 10 scale, like a 7.5 out of 10, but with a 5-star scale, you can just do like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can do probably a 3 out of 5, which is good, and then if I gave like a 2 out of 5, that's really bad, or 1 out
Yeah.
of 5. So it just keeps it simple and keeps it very, it keeps it very simple for the audience. So
What would you say are the most important components of a good movie or a TV show?
I would say the components are that it definitely needs a great story,
Mm-hmm.
and the characters have to be well developed and very relatable, and characters that you'll like, that you care about and stuff. And if they die, you just have emotions for them and care
Yeah.
about them. And also, the writing has to be great too, because you kind of notice over time writing definitely gets lazy on TV shows and movies, and you can tell like who wrote this. Because I started to notice a trend from writers. It's just for some reason they have lazy writing for some reason. Not all
Yeah.
writers, but some. And it's not the actor's fault either. And also, hopefully they have great actors on it too, or voice
Yeah.
actors. Also, the cinematography or the screenplay has to be great, or it has to look well enough to catch my attention. And also, the show and movie has to catch my attention too. And it has to be exciting and something that you're excited to watch, and it's not a chore to watch. If you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely know that.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you have to force yourself to watch it. Like you want to watch the next episode or the next movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I look for in movies and TV shows. What makes it great?
Very cool.
Thank you.
Let me see if I could think of anything else. So yeah, definitely check out the Jones review coming up today and every Friday from 11:30 to 1 p.m. on WWSU. Get give
Yeah,
a quick.
I've got one for you, Bailey.
Oh, go ahead, Harmony.
What made you decide to go into communications, and which branch are you resonating to?
So what got me into communications? So I went to a career school the last 2 years of my a short story. I went to a career school my last 2 years of high school called MVCTC, and I went through like a IT program, which it was kind of like a computer repair and tech support. But down the road, I liked what I was doing there, but I keep forgetting it was more of a hands-on school too. So when
Right.
I graduated, I was thinking maybe I should go on and do the IT program through UC at University of Cincinnati. So when I go to UC, the IT program there, I didn't care for it because mainly at the career school, we focused on all the parts of the computer, how it works and everything, but we didn't deep dive into coding. And then when I got to coding at UC, I didn't really care for it, and it sucked,
Right.
basically. So that next year, well, of course, COVID happened, and then I had a long time of thinking to myself, what do I want to do with myself, and what do I want to do for career-wise? And then I'm like, I want to start my own YouTube. Well, it kind of developed, but I wanted to start my own YouTube channel, and then it kind of developed over time, and I had certain goals, and then I changed my major to communications, and I talked to I think my UC advisor, and I wanted to do journalism because in the future, my career is I want to become like a video game journalist in a way.
Oh, there you go.
Or have
There
you ever heard
go.
of IGN or GameSpot?
Yeah. Yes.
I want to be one of those people that reviews games or movies or TV shows and
There
gives
you
them a
go.
rating, and they always show up to the conventions. They're always reviewing or checking out this new console, or they're always or they talk about the new Microsoft a gadget or object that they have or coming out soon. Because I want to be that, basically. And
Well, there you go. That sounds awesome.
that's my plan.
That'd be
hopefully.
pretty cool. You get to do a lot of gaming and having fun while you're doing your job.
Yeah,
Hopefully getting paid too.
yeah.
getting
Hopefully,
paid
that's the
and
plan.
getting good things sent to you about, hey, try this. See what you think about this.
Mhm.
Come here. We'll give you tickets to come here. Fly
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's an awesome deal for sure.
But yeah, that's why I wanted to change to communications. And my advisor told me, don't do journalism because it's such a focused on journalism. And she recommended me communications. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
completely. I agree with that. I agree with that information because, it's a broad spectrum and, so that way this kind of covers a lot more territory, I feel. So that was a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be sure to tune in to the Jones Review coming up in just about 30 minutes on WWSU. So every Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is time for us to wrap up the show here. We're going to give you a final check of the weather forecast. The current weather, according to tomorrow.io, is cloudy and 77 degrees. The wind is coming from the north at 4 miles per hour. Humidity is 78%. Dew point is 69 degrees. Visibility 10 miles. Air quality is good. There is going to be a chance of thunderstorms developing later on this afternoon with a slight chance of torrential rainfall and flooding, so be careful and mindful of that. But otherwise, it's going to be mostly cloudy throughout the day. Temperature is going to approach 80 degrees at 1 p.m. and then rise into the mid-80s by 6 p.m. and then start cooling off after 7 p.m. into the upper 70s. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Wright Morning Show and making us a part of your morning. We're here every weekday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., so we'll be back on Monday for the next episode of the Wright Morning Show. Thank you, Bailey, for being on. Thank you, Harmony, and thank you, Laughing Chipmunk, if you're still there, which I don't think you are.
Thanks for having me, Patrick.
We appreciate.
No problem.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on Monday. Take care and have a great weekend.
Hey, this is Mac Miller, and you're listening to WWSU, Dayton's Right Choice.
If you love them enough to turn